Hi, I'm Alois Rosario.
And I'm Jeff Plum from Ping Skills, and this is Receiving Secrets Revealed.
Receiving serve is one of the most difficult parts of table tennis. We're going to help you with the finer points of returning serve.
When returning serve, the most important aspect is understanding spin. This is the first thing we're going to look at. So the first thing we want to understand is how the ball reacts against the bat with different types of spin. Now the first spin we're going to look at is topspin. We're going to use this CD here to simulate the spin on the ball. Now if you can imagine that this is the ball and it's moving this way, then the topspin is going to move forward. So it's going to roll forward like that. That's topspin. Now when that hits the bat, you can see what's going to happen. It's going to spin in and crawl up the bat. So that is what the effect of topspin is. So when a ball comes in with topspin, it's going to hit here and bounce upwards. The next spin we're going to look at is backspin. Now, if the ball's moving this way, then with backspin, it's going to be spinning backwards like that. Now, again, using this CD, we can see that because it's spinning like that, what effect it's going to have on the bat. So as it spins backwards, it's going to hit the bat and roll down. See that again? Hit the bat and roll down. Now let's take a look at side spin. If the ball's moving forward, we realise that it can be spinning to the right or to the left. Now let's first have a look at what effect it's going to have on the bat if it's spinning around this way. Now we can see that as it hits the bat, it's going to dig in and come towards me. Okay, so notice the way it's spinning, grips in and digs towards me. Now if it's going the other way, it's going to grip in and spin away. Let's see that again, grip in and spin away. So far we've looked at the effect of pure backspin and pure topspin and pure side spin. But when you're receiving serve, often you'll get a combination of spins. So firstly, if we just recap the backspin, it'll hit your bat and go downwards, and you can see my fingers are pointing downwards. Hit your bat and go downwards. So if we get, say, a combination of backspin and side spin, you can see my fingers are pointing this direction, and that's where the ball will go. So let's have a look. Hit your bat and go down and to the side. Hit your bat down and to the side. And if you get backspin and side spin the other way, again, it'll hit your bat and go downwards and to the side, just like my fingers are pointing.
So let's have a look at the effect of some real serves now. So Jeff's going to start by doing a backspin serve. It hits my bat and goes straight down into my side of the table. The topspin serve hits my bat and goes up. Then let's have a look at the side spin serve. So this one hits my bat and kicks off to your left. The other side spin hits my bat and kicks off to your right. Now let's have a look at some combinations of spin. So you can have backspin and side spin. So Jeff's going to do a backspin side spin serve. It goes down and to your left. Let's have a look at another serve. So this is side spin and top spin, and this one kicks off up and to the left. Let's have a look at the side spin the other way. Side spin, backspin goes down to your right, and side spin, top spin goes up to your right. So try not to focus too much on what type of serve it is, whether it's a tomahawk or a pendulum. Focus more on what type of spin is on the ball. Once you know what spins on the ball and what effect it has off your bat, you're halfway there to being able to return the serve. So let's have a look at the effect of Jeff serving like he would in a match. So that one kicked off down and to the side, and that one was up and to the side. So that was topspin, side spin. This is backspin, side spin. Again, the ball went straight down and into the side. Now he's doing the backhand serve and the ball's kicking the other way, so it's got a different side spin. That one was backspin, side spin. It went straight down to the side. So we've talked about the effect of spin. Now let's have a look at how you can read the spin that your opponents put on the ball. The first thing you need to consider is the type of spin. So whether it's backspin, side spin, top spin, or a combination of those. So you're going to realise the type of spin by watching the action. So first, let's look at the backspin. So to see that your opponent has put backspin on the ball, they need to be spinning that ball backwards. They can do this by either coming down the back of the ball or underneath the ball. So any action that gets the ball spinning backwards is generating the backspin. So the backspin can be straight down the back of the ball, or it can be underneath the ball. So both of those actions are generating backspin on the ball. So now let's have a look at side spin. So for side spin, you know that you need the ball spinning around sideways. So they can do this by brushing across the back of the ball or brushing the side of the ball. So both these two actions generate side spin on the ball. So let's have a look at this in action. So with the side spin, you can brush across the back of the ball, or you can brush the side of the ball to generate the side spin. And thirdly, for top spin. So to generate top spin, the ball needs to be spinning forwards. So they can do this by brushing straight over the top of the ball, or they can brush up the back of the ball. They can even come from underneath the ball and brush up and around a little bit. You can see in all of these three cases, the ball is spinning forwards with top spin. So let's have a look at the top spin now. So for the top spin, you can brush straight over the top of the ball, or you can brush up the back of the ball. So to recap, make sure you're watching the action they're using to get the ball to spin. So the action can also combine two different types of spin, with the backspin and side spin, or the side spin with the top spin. When thinking about the spin, we also need to consider how much spin is on the ball. The two crucial things that you're looking for as to how much spin's on the ball is how fast they brush it and how finely they brush it. A flat contact is just going to push the ball forward. A brushing contact is going to get the ball to spin, and a fast brushing action is going to get the ball to spin even faster. So let's have a look at the key principles of how you return serve. To counter the amount of spin that's on the ball, we need to use our bat like a rudder. So we need to change the angle of our bat. The real trick is to know how much we need to change the angle to get the ball back where we want it. Let's look at the example of a side spin serve, and we're going to use this pencil as a tool. So if the ball is heading out in the direction of the pencil, what I need to do is use the bat like a rudder and turn it so that now the pencil is pointing exactly where I want the ball to go. And that leaves my bat in the right position to get the ball back onto the table. So this same principle applies to all different types of spins. So with backspin, the ball's going to go down towards the table. So now what I need to do is to tilt that pencil up so that it's going over the net. And that's the angle we need to return backspin. Similarly, if the ball has topspin on the ball and wants to head up, I need to turn my bat over so that now the pencil is pointing where I want the ball to go. So to return topspin, we need to have the bat angled over the ball. So again, this applies to combinations of spins, side spin and backspin, side spin and topspin. So we saw when Jeff was serving earlier and it had side spin and backspin, the ball was heading down and to your left. So now let's have a look at what angle we need on our bat to get that pencil pointing where we want the ball. So you can see that now my bat is facing up and to the side to counter the side spin and the backspin. And the same applies for topspin and side spin. So when the ball hits my bat with topspin and side spin, that's the angle it wants to go off at. So now let's look at how we can point that pencil back towards where we want the ball to go. And now we have our bat facing down and to the side to counter both the side spin and the topspin. So let's have a look at the effect of a backspin and side spin serve. So here it goes down and to the side. So what I need to do is tilt my bat up and face it to the other side to counter both the backspin and the side spin. So with our pencil, let's have a look. It was going down and to the side. So I need to tilt my bat up and to the other side so that the pencil's pointing in the right direction. And that's the angle that I need to return the backspin side spin serve. So the side spin topspin serve is going to go up and to your left. So what I need to do now is I need to turn my bat down and to your right. And now the ball goes back to the direction I want it to. So with the topspin side spin serve, the ball is going to go up and to your left. So what I need to do is to get that pencil pointing where I want the ball to go. And that leaves my bat facing to your right and slightly over the ball to counter the top spin and the side spin. So the tomahawk serve goes off and to your right when it hits my bat. So what I need to do now is to change the angle so that I can get the ball back onto the table. So the tomahawk serve is going off to the side. I need to change the angle so that now the pencil is pointing straight back to where I want the ball to go. And that's the angle that I need. Another key principle is to make sure that you're watching the angle of the bat at the point of contact. Even though there are a wide range of serves, have a look at this. If I do the reverse pendulum serve, this is the angle of my bat. Now let's have a look at keeping the bat in exactly the same position But now I'm going to do the backhand serve. You'll notice that the bat's doing exactly the same thing, so it's generating the same spin. If you're unsure of what type of spin's on the serve, a good thing to do is to aim for the middle of the table. That way you've got a bit of margin for error on your returns. As you get more advanced, what you should do is aim for a much smaller spot. So rather than just aiming for the middle of the table, pick out a small spot on the other end that you're aiming for. I just use a little target during practice. In a match situation, you can visualize the spot that you're aiming for. By aiming at a small spot, your focus becomes a bit narrower, and that tends to increase your accuracy. So also key for returning serves is to really get focus on the ball. So by focusing on the ball, we'll start to see the trajectory of the ball and the flight of the ball. So this gives us a few clues. Now, it isn't an easy thing to do, but it's something that you will start to get with experience. So the flight of the ball will tell us a little bit about the spin. So certainly if the ball's curving in the air, we know that there's some side spin on the ball. You can also see the ball dipping a little bit with a bit of experience. That means that the ball has topspin on the ball. If the ball tends to float through a little bit more, it means that there's some backspin on the ball. So focusing on the ball, watching the ball really carefully will start to give us some of these clues. Another cue that you will get is by the sound of the bat on the ball. So if you just listen to these two carefully, this is a flat contact and a soft contact. Flat, soft. So the louder sound means that there's less spin on the ball. The softer brushing sound means that there's more spin on the ball. Again, something that you can start to pick up by listening really carefully. Now, watching the ball doesn't only mean watch the ball as it's coming towards you. A really critical part of learning is to make sure that you're watching the ball after it leaves your bat, so that you see exactly what the effect of the spin was. So if you watch the ball go off the side of the table, then you know that there was some more side spin on the ball than you expected. Similarly, if the ball goes shooting into the net, you need to make sure you're watching that carefully. Watch exactly where the ball goes after you hit the ball, because that gives you better clues as to the amount of spin that was on the ball. So I always say that with returning, there's no serve in the world that anyone can do to you if they do the same serve 10 times that you can't return by the 10th time. So if the best server in the world comes out there and serves to you 10 times, if the first one shoots off at right angles, then as long as you're watching and seeing the effect and understand the spin and the effect of the spin, then you can start to adjust. So if the first one shoots off there, you're going to change the angle of your bat. Eventually, you're going to start to get the ball closer to the table. And as I said, within 10 turns, you will get the ball back on the table. So each time you play someone with really great serves, it's really important that you work really hard at getting the ball back on the table and learn from your mistakes. You will make mistakes. The best players in the world still make mistakes off the return of serve. So as long as you're watching and seeing where the ball's going, you'll start to adjust. Returning serve is a lot about your experience. It's about having seen that picture before, understanding what spins on the ball, and then being able to make the small adjustments so that you can start to get the ball back on the table. When returning serve, it's important to have a really soft and relaxed grip. When I'm returning serve, okay, I can take the bat out of my hand that easily. Why is this important? Because if you've got a really strong grip on your bat, this now becomes like a brick wall. So all the spin takes effect and zips out quickly. But if your hand is relaxed and soft, your bat then acts more like a sponge and absorbs some of the spin, which makes it a little bit easier for you to control the ball back. So forget that throttle grip, just keep it nice and relaxed and soft hands. The other thing that soft hands will allow you to do is just make the small adjustments. Again, if your hand is really tight and your grip's tight, it's hard to make the small adjustments. Soft hands allow you to do that a lot easier. Players often tell me that their opponents have been serving the ball where it's snaking one way and the other way with the one serve. It can't happen. Watch the ball carefully and you'll see that it can only curve one way on a serve. So it'll either curve this way or it'll curve the other way and it'll have some dip, or it'll slide through with backspin. So there's only one spin that a player can put on the serve. Watch it carefully and you'll see it.
In this next section, let's talk about the correct receiving position and the correct footwork for receiving serves.
So let's now have a look at the position that you're going to stand at the table. A really good guide to start off with is that if you can put your bat on the middle line, that's roughly where you want to stand across the table. And how far away from the table should you stand? Roughly as a guide, where you can just touch the table. You'll need to alter this position slightly depending on where your opponent's serving from. So if you're serving from over there, I'm going to just move myself across a little bit more to the left to cover this angle. If you're serving from over there now, like a left-hander often would for a pendulum serve, I'm going to move myself across a little bit to cover off that angle. If my opponent's serving a lot of long, fast serves, I might just want to move a little bit further back away from the table. And if they're serving a lot of short serves, I might just creep in a little bit closer. So with your footwork for the receive serve, the first critical part is to get your legs down as low as you can go. So this sort of position is where you need to aim for. Once we've got that ready position, then we're ready to move. So we're going to think about the short serves first. With the short serve, you always put your right foot in. So it doesn't matter where the ball's going short on the table, it's in with your right foot, in with your right foot. And then after that, you're back to the ready position. That's on the short serve. If they serve the ball wide to your forehand, then it's one step out wide with your right leg, play your shot, and then back in the ready position. Now, if it's wide to your backhand and past this corner here, then you can take a step with your left foot. So to get into position for the wide backhand, and then back to the ready position. Now, the last ones, if the ball's long and fast and deep, you can take a little bit of a step backwards to your forehand. You can also take a little bit of a step back to with your backhand, or you can hold your position and play the long, fast backhand from there. So as long as you get set up in your basic position to start off with, then it's just one step to return any serve.
So now we're going to look at the types of strokes you can use when returning serves. There's three main categories. First, there's the push. Secondly, there's the flick or the flip. And then thirdly, you can attack the ball either with a top spin or a counter hit.
So when do we use these different strokes? When the serve is short, then you've got two options. You can push the ball or you can flick or flip the ball. So what is a short serve? A short serve is a serve that's going to bounce at least twice on your end of the table. So that means it makes it difficult to attack because it's hard to swing through properly to attack the ball. So short serve, at least two bounces on your side of the table. So for that, you need to move in and you can make the push or the flick. So the short serve can have different types of spin. If there's a lot of backspin on the short serve, your best option is to push the ball back. With the push, you've got the bat at the right angle to get the ball back on the table. If they've got side spin on the serve, or no spin, or top spin, that's the time that you can start to think about making the flick or the flip. So for the heavy backspin, use the push. For side spin, or no spin, or top spin, you can start to make the flick. So with Jeff serving short backspin, my first option is to push the ball back. By pushing the ball, I've got the bat at the right angle to counter the backspin. I can also push the ball long and fast. You can also flick the backspin, but you need to open the angle of your bat to counter the backspin. If Jeff serves topspin, it's easiest to flick the ball because you're coming over the top of the ball and bringing the topspin down. A difficult option is to push that topspin serve back. It requires a bit of touch and feel to get that ball low and short enough. So you require really soft hands and a very vertical bat angle. Off the side spin serve, you need to alter the angle of your bat to make sure the ball's going straight back on the table. Jeff can also put backspin with his side spin, which means that I need to lift the bat up and angle it for the side spin. If Jeff puts side spin and top spin, I need to come over the top and again change the angle for the side spin. The short no spin serve can be difficult to deal with. Again, you need a good touch to keep the ball short on the other side. Keep your hand really nice and relaxed and come quite vertical down the back of the ball. You can also flick the no spin serve. So remember, your options off a short serve are to push short, to push it long, or to flick. So off the tomahawk serve and the pendulum serve and even the backhand serve, it's almost a given that there'll be a little bit of side spin on the serve. So with the tomahawk, it's difficult to do it without any side spin on it. So what I'm watching for when I'm receiving the tomahawk serve is whether it has a bit of top spin on it, or it has a bit of backspin on it, or whether it's basically just pure side spin. But it's a given that there's going to be side spin on the serve. The same thing with the pendulum serve. I see that there's going to be side spin on the serve, whether it's a little bit or a lot, but then what I'm watching for is whether there's backspin on it or topspin on it. So based on whether there's backspin or topspin on that serve, I'm going to decide what type of return I'm going to make. Now, it's a given that I'm going to expect side spin on it, which I need to counter. So it's short backspin, I'm going to push the ball back short. Short topspin, I'm going to flick. No spin, flick. Backspin, flick. Oh, heavy backspin. Flick was difficult. Push is easier. Backspin, short push. Flick that topspin serve. Tomahawk topspin, I'm going to flick it. Tomahawk backspin, short push. Tomahawk topspin, flick. Tomahawk backspin, short push. Tomahawk backspin, long push. Pendulum backspin, oh, good serve. Pendulum backspin, pendulum topspin, flick. Pendulum backspin, no spin, flick. Pendulum no spin, flick. Pendulum backspin, ooh, short push. So let's look at the long serve. So a long serve is a serve that's going to bounce only once on your side of the table. So if they serve it, bounces once on your side, the next bounce would be off the table onto the floor. So off this type of serve, what we want to do is we want to try and attack that serve, either with a topspin or a counter hit. Now, the reason that we can attack it is because that second bounce is off the table, which means that we can swing through a lot easier to make your attacking stroke. So off the long serves, we're going to try and topspin the return in most cases. So what type of topspin do we make? That depends on the type of spin that's on the ball. So whether there's that backspin or whether there's topspin. And again, we're going to give that most of the time there's going to be side spin on it. So if there's backspin on the long serve, I'm going to have a more vertical stroke to lift the backspin. If there's topspin on the long serve, I'm going to go more forward to make sure the ball doesn't go off the end of the table and goes down onto the other person's side of the table. So off a really heavy spun long serve, what you want to do is brush the ball really finely. That will start to get the ball moving in the direction you want it to. So if it's spinning really fast with side spin this way, by touching it very fast, it's going to put your own spin on the ball. So that will convert all of that side spin into the top spin, and then you'll be able to get the ball to go where you want it to go. If there's a lot of spin on the ball and I have a thick contact on it, the spin's going to fly away. But if I just touch the ball very lightly and put my own spin on it, then the side spin's going to have less effect. So let's have a look. So heavy serve, just touch the ball lightly, and I'm going to put my own spin on the ball. So here I'm putting just some heavy top spin on it. And the side spin doesn't really have any effect at all. Whereas if I hit the ball thickly without spin, the ball flies off sideways. So if you're unsure of the spin on the ball, the worst thing you can do is try and guide the ball back, because that way the ball is staying on your racket for a long time and all the effect of the spin is coming into play. The best thing you can do is to be a little bit more decisive and spin the ball yourself or hit the ball a little bit faster. So you want less time of the ball on the racket, and by spinning it heavily, you're giving the ball its own spin and its own direction, rather than relying on the amount of spin that's on the serve. So let's have a look at these long serves. So I need to make sure I'm positive with these returns. Making sure I've got nice speed with my racket to counter any spin that Jeff's putting on the serve. So that's side spin with backspin. Backspin into my backhand. No spin. I'll move across and make that top spin. Need to be decisive with my return. Lots of speed on the racket to counter any spin Jeff's got on. So topspin is what we want you to work towards. So every time the ball comes long on the serve, we want you to get there and try and topspin the return. Now, in a match situation, if you're losing a few too many points, to start off with, what you can do is think about pushing or chopping or blocking that return. Now, remember though, eventually we want you to aim towards being able to topspin those returns, because that will put you into a much better attacking position. Pushing, chopping and blocking gives your opponent the chance to attack you. So off long topspin serves, you can block or counter the return. The important part here though is to make sure that you're placing the ball well. Otherwise it'll be very easy for your opponent to attack. So just use Jeff's topspin to block the ball back. All the time I'm naturally countering for this little bit of side spin that Jeff's got on the serve. So with long backspin, the best way is to either push or chop the return. So here, the principles of the rudder come into effect. So with that side spin, backspin serve, I need to have the bat nice and open so that I'm countering the backspin, and then I need to angle the bat to the side to counter the side spin as well. The next principle here is, because you're playing a defensive stroke, it's really important to try and get the ball lower over the net. So in a match situation, your first option is to try and make the strong topspin. If it's not working, then you could try the push or the chop. But remember, in a practice situation, what you're aiming for is to practice your topspin. Commit to the stroke, try and do a nice heavy spinning topspin and get your bat moving nice and fast to counter the spin on the serve. So let's take a detailed look at some of the serves you'll have to face. So with the pendulum serve, most of them will have some side spin on it. The key here is to see whether it's got the backspin or the topspin on it. So for backspin, as we saw earlier, they're going to need to come down the back of the ball or underneath the ball. So back or under. So coming down the back of the ball or coming underneath the ball. So the backspin makes the ball come back towards me. So with the pendulum topspin serve, you need to come up the back of the ball. So I'm brushing up the back. So from your receiving position, try and pick the different spins on these serves. So the first one, I came underneath the ball with a little bit of side spin. So that has to be backspin and side spin. The second one, I came up the back of the ball, so that has to be topspin with a little bit of side spin. So now let's have a look at the reverse pendulum serve. With this action, there's always going to be some side spin on the ball. So we need to determine whether there's backspin or topspin on the ball. So we need to determine whether they're coming underneath or they're going up on the ball. So with the backspin, they're going to have their bat open so they're brushing underneath the ball. So for the topspin, they'll be brushing up the back of the ball. So now let's have a look at the tomahawk serve. So the tomahawk serve is going to have some side spin on the ball because of the action. They're going to be brushing the side of the ball or across the back of the ball. What you need to watch for is whether they've got some topspin on the ball or some backspin on the ball. So with the tomahawk backspin serve, they're going to lay their bat back a little bit on contact so that they're brushing underneath the ball to get the ball spinning backwards with the backspin. Or they'll brush down on the ball again to generate the backspin on the ball. So with the backspin, I'm coming underneath the ball, okay? Or I'm brushing down the back of the ball. So for the topspin side spin serve, they're going to either brush up the back of the ball or they're going to brush over the top of the ball. So the topspin serve, I'm going to come right over the top and the ball's going to kick out towards you. So now, let's see if you can pick the difference between these two serves. So the first serve had some backspin on it because I came underneath the ball and brushed underneath to get the ball spinning backwards. The second one had some topspin on it because I brushed over the top of the ball, making the ball start to spin forwards with the topspin. So now let's have a look at the backhand serve. So with the action of the backhand serve, they're going to have some side spin on the ball. So again, we need to have a look at whether they're putting some backspin on it or some topspin on it. So with the backspin serve, they're going to have their bat quite open so that they can come underneath the ball and get that ball starting to spin backwards with the backspin. So here's the backspin in action. You can see I'm coming underneath the ball. With the topspin serve, they usually brush up the back of the ball to generate the topspin. So up the back to generate the topspin, and it will still have some side spin. So now it's time for your test. See if you can pick the difference between these two serves. The first serve was the topspin serve because I brushed up the back of the ball, causing the ball to spin forwards with topspin. The second serve was the backspin serve, so I brushed underneath the ball, causing the ball to spin backwards with the backspin. So we've just covered some of the main serves there. As you know, in a match situation, there are endless numbers of serves that your opponent can do to you. The key to returning that endless variation of serve is to make sure that you're watching their action so that you can determine what type of spin's on the ball and how much spin's on the ball. So now we're going to give you a challenge to see if you can pick what type of spin's on the serve. So let's have a look at this serve. So that one was side spin with top spin. I generated the side spin because I came across the back of the ball and I came over the top of the ball to generate the top spin. Here's one you might see in your local competition. So that serve was side spin with backspin. So the side spin came because I was coming across the back of the ball. And I had some backspin on it because I opened up the face of my bat so that I was coming underneath the ball as well. So side spin, backspin. So let's have a look at this one. This is called the reverse tomahawk. So that was side spin and top spin. Side spin because I came around the side of the ball, and top spin because I came over the top of the ball a little bit, making the ball spin forward. So let's have a look at a few other serves. That one had some topspin on the ball because I rolled up the back of the ball. It's a very subtle action, but it's enough to generate the topspin.
Now I want to do a backhand serve. What spin was on that? Okay, that was a backspin, side spin serve. So by coming across, I generated the side spin, which got the ball spinning sideways, and by coming underneath the ball, I generated the backspin. So it was a backspin, side spin serve.
I'm going to do two serves here. This is the pendulum serve, and this is the pendulum serve with a fake movement. So the important part here is to make sure that you're really focusing on the contact and the flight of the ball. Everything else is unnecessary. So the fake arm movements, unnecessary. The fake swing before and the fake swing after, unnecessary. So really focus in on the ball and the contact of the bat on the ball, and then watch the flight of the ball as it's coming to you. So focus on the ball and you'll see the contact really clearly. So it's important to watch the ball, but that means that you watch the ball from the time that your opponent has it in their hand and they're ready to serve. So that also means that you watch the ball when they throw it up, you follow the ball, you track it all the way up, you track it all the way down, and then as they hit it, you track the ball as it's coming towards you. You'll naturally see the contact and you'll see the spin if you're doing that.
In this section, we're going to talk about tactics. What should you do against different styles of player when returning serve? The first tactic to remember is that off any long serve, that is any serve that's only going to bounce once on the table, we should be top spinning the ball. That'll get us into an attacking position in the rally and give us the best chance of winning the point. Now, it doesn't matter whether we're playing a defender, an attacker, a blocker. Off a long serve, our tactic is always the same. Let's get in and make a strong top spin attack. The next tactic to consider is off the short ball. What we want to do here is always play a shot that's going to be the most difficult for your opponent to return. So to find out what your opponent doesn't like, you've really got to consider your options. Now, you've got three basic options. You can push long, or you can flick. Now, with all those strokes, what you need to focus on is your spin, speed and placement. So vary where you're placing the ball to. Try going to the forehand, to the middle, to the backhand. Try varying the spin, whether you put a little bit of backspin, a lot of backspin, and even the speed. So you can go long or you can flick faster. Just vary all those things and try and find what your opponent doesn't like. So to help you get started with your tactics off a short ball, we're going to make some generalizations. So first we're going to look at what you should do against an attacking player. So when I'm playing a good attacking player, what I like to do off the short ball is keep it short and low back to the attacking player, and this makes it really difficult for them to get their attack in, and that's their strength, so I'm taking away their strength. So I get in and try and keep it short and low, and I'll figure out which side they least prefer, and then I'll go to that side more often. Another tactic I'll try against a good attacking player is to push the ball long and fast to either of the corners and see which they don't like, or flick the ball wide to the corners. Now what this does is it cuts down their time they have to attack, because I'm going to flick it quite fast or push it quite fast with a lot of backspin if I push it, to make it harder for them to attack. And then I need to be ready for that next ball, because it is going long, so they will attack it. But again, because I'm playing it long and fast, I'm cutting down their time. Hopefully I'll catch them by surprise, and then I'll be able to counter attack. So now let's look at some tactics against a defensive chopper. Now, against a defensive chopper, they're not going to be looking to attack straight away. So I've got a bit more room to work with here. So ideally, I want to keep the chopper quite close to the table, because then when I get my attack in, he's got to get back quickly. So I'd like to keep the ball short if I can, but don't feel pressured to. I don't want to make mistakes and lose the point by just pushing into the net. So I've got a bit more room to push it long if I want to. But again, try and keep the ball short so that they're close to the table, and then when I do make my attack, it's harder for them. So now let's look at the tactics to use against a blocker who doesn't have a great topspin. So off the short ball, I'm going to mix up placing the ball short or playing heavy backspin. Because if I play a heavy long backspin, then I'm going to get a backspin ball back, which I can attack. And also, when I play the short ball, that's just going to stop them from getting comfortable. So I'm not really going to flick the ball too much, because then that gets them into that blocking rally that they're comfortable with. So instead, try and keep the ball short or long. Just mix that up, long push or keep the ball short. Now these were just some generalizations to get you started, but when you're playing a match, always remember to think of speed, spin and placement. Vary those three things and find out what is most difficult for the opponent you're playing. Now I want to talk about tactics against left-handed players. Now when a left-handed player is serving, often they serve a pendulum serve from over on the left-hand side of the table. Now this is a different place to serve from a normal right-hander. So because you play less left-handers than you do right-handers, it's going to feel a little bit awkward. But the principles are the same. You've got to look for what type of spin they're generating on it and then counter that spin. So really all you need to do is probably position yourself slightly different, as we talked about in the receiving position, and then everything else should be the same. So try and practice against as many left-handers as you can, so you get used to playing against the serve coming from that angle. In this next section, we're going to talk about the different ways you can practice returning serve.
So, one way to train is by doing some multi-ball. This gives Jeff a chance to train his footwork movement for his return of serve. An advantage of the multi-ball is that you get to do a lot of footwork movements in a short amount of time. It's really important though that when you're doing the movement that you get back to the ready position after each shot. Another form of multi-ball is where I'm just serving the ball to different positions and not giving Jeff much time in between serves. I can vary the type of spin I'm putting on it, the direction, and Jeff has to make sure that he's getting back to his ready position to be ready to return the next serve. So also use the opportunity, if someone's doing some service practice, to practice your return of serve. So here, all we're doing is practicing the service and the return of serve. In your training session, we encourage you to do match drills. A match drill is where one player starts with the serve and then the other person returns the ball, and then you get into a rally which is match-like. When it's your partner's turn to serve, it's a really good opportunity for you to practice your return of serve. So don't use that time as rest time, use that time as great time to practice your returns. So as an extension, what you can do is to practice some return and fourth ball drills. So what a fourth ball drill is, that your opponent served, you've played the second ball, they play the third ball, and then you attack on the fourth ball. So what you can do is get your opponent to serve short, you push the ball short on the return, and then they push the ball long, and then it's your turn to attack on the fourth ball. This gets the focus on making sure that your return of serve is good enough to create an opportunity to attack on the next ball. So to help you with your return of serve, firstly identify serves that you don't like. Then find a partner that is willing to do those serves for you. So for example, you may not like the left-handed pendulum serve. Find a left-hander that has a good pendulum serve and get them to serve that to you over and over again. So get them to serve that same serve over and over again with the same amount of spin and to the same place. Once you start to feel comfortable with that, then you can start to get a bit of an extension to it and add some variation. So the variations you can add are firstly with the type of spin that they're putting on it, secondly with the placement of that serve, and thirdly with the speed of the serve. So first up, make sure that you feel comfortable with the serve that you don't like. Then you can start to mix it up and get different variations so that it becomes a little bit more game-like.
So as an example, say I'm having difficulty with the left-hander's heavy topspin pendulum serve long to my forehand. Say it's just got a bit of extra topspin and it's kicking off my bat and I just can't seem to get it. I'll get Alois, because he's a left-handed pendulum server, to do that serve 10 times in a row. So here we go. One, and I just can't get over it. So I think I've got to close my bat a little bit more, and still not quite there, but close it a bit more. And there we go, I've got it. Now it didn't even take the 10 serves. Now you'll actually find that it probably won't take you 10 serves, but it can, so just keep working on it. And now, once you start to feel comfortable with it, just get him to do a few more until you actually feel comfortable making that shot, and then we can start to mix it up. So the first way we want to mix it up, I want to get Alois to serve 10 long backspin serves to my forehand. So then I'll just get used to returning the backspin serve. So long backspin serves, yep, just couldn't quite get it, so, and there. So keep going until you're comfortable with that. And now I'm comfortable with the backspin serve and I'm comfortable with the topspin serve. So what I'll get him to do is mix up the backspin and the topspin serves, and that's going to be more of a challenge for me. But now I'm starting to pick them because I've practiced it, so this is good. Can tell the difference. That one was a backspin, backspin, and the topspin. So that's the way to do it. Mix it up. Get used to serving the same serve over and over, and you get used to returning it. Get used to a different variation, and then try the variations together and see if you can pick the difference. The other ways you can mix things up are varying the placement and the speed. So we're going to show an example where we vary the placement. So here, Alois is going to serve long, fast topspin serves either to the backhand or to the forehand. And I've got to be ready for both. It's a great way to practice. We've presented you with a lot of information in this video, so make sure you take the time to review it regularly. It's going to help you understand the key principles of returning serve.
So now it's up to you to get out onto the table and practice your return of serve.
Good luck. Alright Alois, here we've got you returning some serves, and we just want to talk a little bit about your thoughts when you're returning serves. So when you're ready to receive, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm looking for the short and the long on the serve. So Brody's serving here to me. If you're serving short, I'm going to try and push the ball short, or other option to flick like that.
Okay, so that looks a little bit higher with not as much spin.
Yep. Yeah, so those two serves there came a little bit higher, allowing me to attack.
Okay.
If the ball's short and low though, then I'll want to push the ball basically.
Okay. Oh, that was a nice deep one. A bit of variation there. Deep push.
Yeah, because if you're just pushing short all the time, they're going to start to move into that short ball. So
okay.
You need a little bit of variation.
Oh yeah, so there's a couple of nice short returns there.
Yeah, so that's ideal. So basically, you want the ball to be going short and low. That one was a bit high.
Okay.
Ready to attack.
All right. Yeah, because I noticed when you get the short one in, then you often get a next long ball to loop.
Yeah. So if you can stop your opponent from attacking, then hopefully you're going to get a chance to make the attack yourself.
Okay, and here's some good strong returns off those serves there.
Yep. So that one was a little bit longer, and yeah, I made a little bit faster topspin.
Oh, now that just came off the edge, and you really got a lot of spin on that one.
Yeah. So if you can, even that ball that just drops off the end, if you can really get in there and spin it up heavily, it makes it difficult for your opponent.
Yeah. Oh, there's another example of a good top spin.
So that one coming up a little bit higher again, so I go for the flick option.
Oh, and even into your backhand, still try and topspin the long ones into your backhand?
Yep, if you've got a backhand topspin, use it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think it's really something we should be aiming for. And here's a different server. Ooh.
Yep, so this is Aaron now serving to me. So here, just...
Oh, some good wide pushes to the corners.
Yeah, I'm trying out some long pushes there to start with. I'll get a long serve so I can attack it.
Oh, and that was kind of a strange serve. It sort of came around it.
Yeah, a bit hard to see what it was.
So yeah, so if it's a bit hard to see and it's long, what are your plans on a serve like that?
Yep. So if you really spin it heavily, then you can often compensate for not knowing exactly what's on the ball, so that your own strong topspin tends to negate the spin.
Okay. All right. Now here we're on to another server.
Yep. So this is Glenn serving to me.
Ooh.
He gets a lot of spin on his serves.
Yep.
But quite a few of them come long, so I can get in there and topspin that ball and really use my heavy spin to counteract the amount of spin he's getting.
Okay, so I imagine a lot of players would have difficulty with Glenn's serve because they look really good, like they're really heavy spinning balls, and he's got a lot of variety on there. See all these different types of serves, and
Yeah,
it would make it hard for people.
Yeah, Glenn's doing a lot of different serves. He's doing
Whoa! Check out that forehand.
What a forehand, huh? So I need to give him a little bit more on that return, obviously.
Yeah, well, I still think it's a good. You got a nice spinny shot into the forehand. I think it's a good percentage shot in your favours.
So Glenn, really does generate a lot of spin on his serves.
So what advice would you give people against someone serving like this, where, as you can see, there's some short, but like probably 75, 80% even, maybe more, are long serves.
Yep. So if you're unsure of the amount of spin and the type of spin, again, if you really spin the ball heavily yourself and give it a lot of top spin, then you can get the ball spinning the direction you want it to and not relying on the amount of spin.
Okay, there's a good example, that shot just there. So really commit to it and go for the top spin. That's really what we're trying to say.
That one there.
Off a long serve.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
So especially if the serve's long, you really want to get in there and spin it.
Okay, excellent. Great advice.
So here's some pendulum serves. These are long backspin serves. So because they're long, I'm going to get into a position to topspin it. So that's what I'm practicing. Spin it up. Now I'm going to start to think about where I'm placing the ball. I'm going to try and go a little bit wider to Jeff's backhand. Not wide enough. That was better. I need to get good position myself. Not wide enough. That was good. Now I'm going to try and go to the forehand. This is a bit more awkward, coming across the angle of the spin. Just need to angle my bat back a bit. Need to come over that one. That was good. So position and spin the ball heavily. That was good, right down the line. So now Jeff's going to change up, so he's going to change it to a topspin serve. So I need to come right over the top of that. So now I'm going to try and go down to his forehand with this one. Again, a little bit more awkward for me, so I need to practice this. Again, get good position and come over the top of that one. Good ready position, legs nice and bent. Jeff's adding a bit of disguise in, but I'm watching the ball carefully.